Dockerfile. A Dockerfile is a plain text file. It's a plain text file. It's a plain text. A Dockerfile is a plain text file which contains set of it contains set of instructions to okay, to run your application. Okay, like a set of instructions means like what are the instructions we have? We have a number of commands are there in the Docker file. Like as what are the commands are there from all are capital letters. Okay, from ENV ARG. I'll let's discuss what is each will do. Okay, and the next expose mkdir label, and there is a maintainer. If your guys are Google something, if you can see maintainer, this is deprecated now. Okay, we are not being used. Instead of maintainer we are using label. Okay, remember that. Not mkdir. Okay, work directory, sorry, work directory. Okay, and next copy, and next add. It's just simple, like you know all the names, right? Volume, okay, and user, okay, and next on build health check, something signal is there that I never used till my experience till now. Okay, and health check, and then last final is CMD entry point. Okay. And one more main guy is the one is the run. Okay, now from env argument expose. Okay, expose work directory label maintainer is a deprecated one, run copy add volume user on build lcheck cmd entry point. Okay, this is the only one I missed, that is for the stop signal something it is there. Stop signal something it is there, like look like another file. Let me show you that. If you go for Dockerfile reference official document, same. We'll discuss best practices also. That is a very very important to your question. Okay, once you guys are comfortable this. No, this one. See, no add copy env expose. Okay, from label stop signal user volume work directory on build. Okay, along with that we have a cmd entry point also. Okay, this from we're going to discuss run. Okay, and these are the run commands and run network, run security, cmd. Okay, and label. Now each and every command is available here. Just refer this document. Okay, we are going to do each and every command with hands-on practice. Okay, know what does mean that from where we are using from and where we are using run. I'm gonna write each and everything. Now from is define a base image. Okay, a base image means no, it's include either operating system, it's include operating system along with the softwares, a operating system along with the softwares and required in like a softwares and files or whatever, let's say configuration files, that we are going to define in the from. For example, you want to use ubuntu in your to build your application. Now from ubuntu, example is that example is that from ubuntu. Okay, from ubuntu, like for example 20.04 for something, let's say for some label you want, or else you want to either python code. Okay, either from python, either java. from OpenJDK. No, something like that. That image we can keep it this. Is that clear, guys? The from command is clear now? Clear? Now, what I'm trying to achieve is that whatever we are required, these things, how do you define in a Docker file using these commands? Now, once you have requirement theoretically, now in the Docker file, what we have, then understand, then write a Docker file next. Okay, no, that's what we are trying to achieve. Yes. Once you write one single Docker file, we can write any Docker files in going further. Fine. This is define environment variables, like which is being like as multiple places in your container, and this is arguments. Okay, not to pass any arguments in your system. Like we'll do this hands-on example, one real example. Okay, some arguments you want to be passed for multiple places, and remember, this is the only. Okay, if you have any instruction available to define before from, means basically the first line in the docker file is the from only. Okay, if you want, you can assign, you can add this arg also before from, that will work in the system, but any other commands won't allow to before from. Okay, this is the question I faced me 3 4 times in the interview. Okay, and only arg command, arg docker file instruction can allow before from. We'll see that practically also. Even official document also has this statement. We'll going forward, we'll see that when we're discussing about the section. Okay, and expose, your application is expose any port, like application being used any port. It's kind of a documentation about your port, documentation about ports are using in your application, okay. And work directory, in work directory, okay, like as it's create a folder and cd exchange directory. Okay, now what it will do, it will, in case if folder is there, it will go to that folder. In case if folder is not there, it will create a folder, it will go to folder. That kind of a create a folder, and it will be change directory. Okay, both will one command. Okay, label, like author of the docker file, like who written this docker file, what is his mail id, what is his name, to contact, what is the contact for this guy, just for understanding, to reach out if something going wrong. Okay, in the team, that we can define this. And metadata about your docker file, let's say any linux command, like is installed, like is install, download, whatever, any command like is remove, tar, untarring, any linux command to run in your docker file. No, any command, any, not only linux, okay, any like windows also, what any plain command, any commands to be run, any commands to run. Now for example, I want to run this java c, I can use this run command. Okay, something. Now I want to copy file from, okay, from my host machine to docker image, I mean docker file. Okay, now we are using this, copy the files from one place to, I mean search it to destination. Okay, source to destination. Okay, and add also will be the same purpose, but there is a difference. Very 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 important interview question this is. Okay, but there is a some two main features are available between these two, copy and add, like three mainly, let's say. When we use copy, when we use add, what is the advantages we get adding add command instead of copy. Okay, what is the secure, which is the best practice, that we're going to discuss about these two. Okay, and next volume, to persistent or container data. Now, what do you mean this? Like, sorry, remember guys, like next, like 10 15 days, we are going to use all these commands. One session for this add and copy, one session for volume, not one session, two sessions for volume. Okay, one session for argument and expose and env. Okay, all those commands we're going to do day by day. Okay, not in one day, can't remember everything. Just I'm giving the, you know, basic information that why this command being used in Dockerfile, what is the purpose of the Dockerfile. Okay, okay, to persistence or container data. Basically what happened, right? Docker containers are ephemeral. What do you mean that? If container gone, what are the data inside the container is written, the data also will lost. Is it clear now? Clear now? To make the data persistently, now we are using volumes. Okay, without volumes, Docker is nothing being used. Okay, it's waste of being used. Okay, be careful that we'll discuss this in depth. This is volumes. Okay, okay. Next, user. Okay, which user to execute that all the commands? Who is the owner of that? This commands which is running. Okay, like as if for example in the Jenkins is the user. Jenkins server, if you are using normal Ubuntu, like you want to use the user. Okay, some similar that way. Which user you want to get any user, that user you need to make it that, define that which user being to be done inside that Docker file. Okay, now that I define this. Unbuild, this is for triggers, we'll discuss later this. And so health check, to check application is running or not, healthy or not. Okay, let's say healthy or not means if it is healthy it will success, if it is failed then it will fail. Okay, and this is and now abuse, just we can see this. If you want to kill this any process or anything, then we can use this process, this command. I never be used till my experience. Okay, let's ignore that. Even if you see that official document, we'll get to know that in case if needed. So the cmd remaining commands I used most of things. Okay, and cmd entry point. Okay, these are executables. These are the runtime commands. Okay, like these commands, all commands will execute at the time of build, but these commands are executed at the time of run. Is it clear now? These commands will be executed at the time of build. These two commands will execute at the time of run. Means every Docker file, either you should have CMD or entry point in your Docker file, mandatory, because to run your program. Okay, maybe you may have the both also, CMD entry point. And what is the difference between CMD entry point? That is one more important question. Okay, there is a scenario when we use the CMD, when we use this entry point. Okay, we'll discuss that also in depth. Okay, there is another session for that. Is it clear, guys? Till now, means in this case executable means no, this is our executable. At the final you want to be run as. Okay, example let's say. And copy, let's example let's say copy our this file. It is your source and destination. Either you can give the dot or else just give the path also. That's same file name, you can give dot or else give the work directory, anything. That's what. And this from now we can use this Ubuntu, or you can just in our example, another example from OpenJDK. Is it clear, guys? Clear now? Now, if I use OpenJDK, what happened? What is this OpenJDK? OpenJDK means it's a Java, right? This image, like as you know, I'm using this image means someone already built this image, right? That guys already used some base image, some base operating system. Yes or no? Are you guys right? Clear now? For example, anything I'm using, okay, Java if I'm using, like as you know, for example, Jenkins I'm using, right? I'm using Jenkins means what? Jenkins, someone already built that. Means they've written the Docker file for that, right? In the Docker file, they use from some base operating system, either whatever it is used. Sir, I want to see that. I'm going to show that also. Don't worry. Now what those guys are being used, that base image, what operating system they are using, that we can see that also. Okay, we'll check that later. But yes, now if I use this OpenJDK means it's included. See, for example, yesterday image you can take Figlet Ubuntu, right? Because I mentioned the big Ubuntu, like I just mentioned the Figlet. Okay, for example, basically what I used image for base image Ubuntu. I installed Figlet that I given a name for Figlet for that. Means it's included Figlet software along with the Ubuntu OS. Yes or no? Yes or no, right? The similar way, if I use this OpenJDK means people already created this image using one of the base image. Is that clear now? Which image they used, and I want to know that. Yes, the Docker files are publicly opened. You can go ahead and then read the Docker files. That I'm going to show you that where can I see the Docker files tomorrow. Is it clear, guys? Tomorrow what we do? We can write our own custom Docker file and build the Docker file and build our Docker image, run our application and see the output and see the Docker image size, how much size it came. And I want to reduce that image size. Okay, how to optimize this Docker file and those like a hands-on practice.